angry, shocked, sad, and afraid. These words only begin to convey how I felt after reading the leaked majority opinion written by Justice Alito, indicating that the Supreme Court is poised to overturn Roe v. Wade. Heading into this legislative session, we'd feared that we would be in this position. That is why, as members of the Legislative Women's Caucus, the Black Caucus, the Legislative Black Caucus, the Legislative Latino Caucus, and the legislature as a whole, we rallied together to introduce and prioritize legislation which would provide protections for birthing people and women seeking reproductive health care here in California. I think about my life and moments in my life where Roe v. Wade allowed me to make decisions about my body, my economic well-being, and my family. And because I can, and I have the voice, I will share my story. I will share that as a 21-year-old, one of the first people in my family who experienced poverty growing up, coming out of Yale with my very first job, I found out that I was pregnant. And I had to weigh all of the decisions that came with that reality. And I chose to get an abortion. I chose to own my body. I chose to make a decision that would allow me to recognize ending the cycle of poverty in my family. To think that those choices and those decisions will not be available for women in places like Mississippi or Georgia or 20 other states in this country is unfathomable. Now women and birthing people around the country, especially in states like Texas and Mississippi, will be stripped of their own power and ability to make choices about who and when and how to start their own family. My own daughters will have fewer protections and rights than I did. That's not progress, that's just terrifying. As a woman of color, I can't help but think about how the Supreme Court's decision will disproportionately impact women of color. And as a woman of color, it's important, as women of color, it is important that we vocalize and be vocal and loud and proud and scream to the highest heavens, because we need to be heard about the disproportionate impact this decision will have on women of color.
In a country where Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, the stripping away of the right to abortion care, an integral part of the full spectrum of reproductive health care, is downright cruel. A decision that aligns with the leaked draft, or one that functions to overturn Roe, denies our humanity and our inherent dignity. It denies our capacity to determine if, when, and how to lead full lives and care for our families on our own terms. Such a decision will have far-reaching and devastating consequences for our communities, as it would deepen the already staggering inequities that persist. We know that banning abortion would not eliminate the need for abortion care. Banning abortion nationwide would instead lead to a 21% increase in the number of pregnancy-related deaths overall and a 33% increase among Black women. Banning abortion would, in fact, open the door for criminalization of providers, women, and our care systems. For Black women and gender-expansive people whose bodies are disproportionately surveilled and over-policed, such a ruling would allow for criminalization of our pregnancy outcomes, including for those who seek abortion care and those who experience pregnancy loss.
I stand before you today, just, I think, like everyone behind me, really sad, really angry, and really tired. And I'm sad that I'm looking at my children, and for the first time, they will have less rights than the rights that I grew up under. I'm angry that people are doing and making these laws knowing what the impact is, knowing that anyone that tries to seek access to care, that tries to seek an abortion and is denied that care is 4 times more likely to end up in poverty. It will not have the same education and economic opportunities that they could have, that the trajectory of the destiny that they deserve could be changed by someone else's decisions. And I'm tired of people that don't look like me making decisions for people that look like me.
That is why I have authored AB 2091 to protect the information of every person who seeks care here in California. AB 2091 will ensure that subpoenas will seek information related to a patient who received reproductive health care here in California are not granted. I am adding an urgency clause to this bill as well to ensure that when and if Roe v. Wade gets underturned, that this bill will become a law so that there will be no time lag between the time when a decision that will set us back decades will ensure that we don't have the ability to seek reproductive health care that we need. And I have urged my colleagues to do the same, many of whom have also included their support in that. We in California trust women and birthing people to make difficult, heart-wrenching decisions of whether and when to have a family. Let's continue providing women here and across the country with the tools they need to continue to make that choice. And I'm here, we are here, because we know that we need to lift up the voices of women of color especially, and disadvantaged communities to make sure they have a voice in our decision-making process in the legislature.